Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 3 of the 9 green candles. And today my guest is Jeffrey, who dressed in an
Hello.
appropriately green top and just ready to go. What we're going to do first is we're going to go over to the table and light the candles for today. And as I say, the meditation for this round of green candles. And um, we light the, oh, yeah, to remind, I think I forgot to say this yesterday. I'm not really sure. These rocks in the middle, I always have some sort of stones in the middle grounding it. These are selenite, and there's selenite that gets blasted by the sand and gets put in these beautiful shapes. And the reason I pick selenite is because it happens in the desert, along with our little cactuses. And this is a selenite rose. And I've actually seen one of these in a rock shop that was 3 feet across. The
Wow.
wind had blown and swirled around it, makes these absolutely gorgeous patterns. So Mother Nature's full of all kinds of fun stuff. And I think I'll light these matches. Huh. This is for day 1. I want to light the candles, not me, 2. And then Jeffrey's candle, which is day 3. And we light these candles to help focus on our own consciousness and to appreciate how, when we join together our intentions with like-minded beings, we are prepared to move Gaia, Mother Earth, and New Earth into the emerging planetary patterns. First, by centering each individual's vibes with the coming times, and then by living with awareness of our own strength and how it's part of that energy for the new Earth. We will feel free to romp and play and go onto the uncharted seas. And those are kind of the themes for this candle. And so, Jeffrey, you got it. It's day 3. Yes, 3. And so, what do you got to say?
Well, let's talk about three.
Okay.
So three is a really, really magical number because three is really, so if there's a duality that we understand, right? So here's one day and here's night. And what
Mm-hmm.
happens is when the two of them combine, they become something else.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes like the child. It's almost like the mother, father, child. It's the reason I think, and a lot of it, there's a trinity in Christianity, there's a trinity in Hinduism. Um, and the other energy of three is that the third element, actually, maybe that third element really gives birth to the two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is dusk giving birth to, dusk or dawn? Are they giving birth to day? Are they giving birth to night? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So I really like number three. And funnily, last night I had a friend do my numerology, and I'm not a three, but there are a lot of threes in my name, a lot of threes.
Mm-hmm.
And even all the three cards in the in the tarot, they're all about creativity. They're all about creating something new, honoring the past, bringing, foreseeing the future and being in the now, like the past informing us, being in the now and looking forward to the future. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And so that, you wanted to talk about the romping in uncharted seas. Well, my life this year, actually, I'm coming up on my anniversary.
Uh-huh.
So March 12th is the anniversary, and of being in Mexico a year. And it's really been this kind of romping around in uncharted territory. I mean, I'd been to Mexico many times before. I had a few people that I knew here, but um, it's really about learning how to adjust and enjoy the adjustment because, nearly everything is different.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the way people do business, the way people speak to one another, the way they use a different temperature gauge, they use a different money system, and there's a lot of joy in it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's really a lot of joy. And, there are things about it that, I wish were different, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I always manage to find the thing that makes me happy and joyous and gets me in touch with that energy of green, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that energy of green is the energy of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Energy, it's interesting you brought up roses because that's another symbol of the heart. And for me, green is my favorite color actually. So I was really glad when you're doing green candles. Um, because for me, the green energy is really about like being surrounded by the loving fertility of the earth. Like that's what it's really about. And it makes me feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Green makes me feel safe, makes me feel grounded and safe. And, it has the element of the blue of the eternity, but it also has the element of the yellow, which is joy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's what ends up happening. And there's a feeling that I get around the color green that is very hmm, comforting, comforted, safe, fertile. Um, there's an excitement, but it's an excitement, but it's I don't know, sort of practical.
Mm-hmm.
It's not floating around. So, this romping around, it's kind of like, well, let me see what happens. 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 And I think that's the energy we all need to, or with that, that's the energy that's coming because
Mm-hmm.
things are going to continue to change. I mean, you think things have changed, things are really going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can be in a state of wonder and joy and fertility and happiness and safety in my own body and my own self with the earth, then I'll be able to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I got.
Good.
And
Good.
my candle is Raphael, by the way.
Yes. You got the 9 candles in one.
Yeah.
You just light
Well, I
it
went
up.
looking for the green candle, and there are two places that sell candles, but one of them sells them in plastic. It's like, well, that ain't gonna work. And there was another guy who had glass, and he had every single color under the sun. He had the rainbow ones, and it's Mexico, so it's all the saints. And he goes, oh, and then he goes, oh, but I also have Saint Judas. Like, no, I want Raphael. I want Raphael. I want Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I pre-lit, and it's going to stay lit until it's not lit anymore.
Very good. Yeah, you took a master class in change in the last year.
Yeah, and it continues.
Mm-hmm.
It continues. It continues. And so that being said, it's something I've talked about on my channel for a really long time, even before the fire. The stability needs to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the stability needs to be on the inside. It's like my relationship with my heart, my relationship with my spirit, my relationship with God. That's the stability. Jobs come and go, relationships come and go, money comes and goes, health comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be, I mean, for me, I've tried to base things in where I live, what I do, who's my friend, and sometimes it lasts for a year or two or five, but nothing lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's eternal is our soul. So, being more and more in touch with that, I think will really help the individual and the collective move through these new times that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I tried it the other way.
Okay. Doesn't work so well.
It doesn't
Then
work.
everything's one big uncharted sea and you're just bobbing around in it.
Just bobbing around, seeing what little fishy will come by to say hello, or
Mm-hmm.
what seabird or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I always found it was more the sharks that kind of got my
I,
attention.
I, 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 I'm hoping it's like, pretty little, like the pretty ones that you see that, change color as you look at them.
Mhm. Okay. Well, anyway, to close out today, what I'd like to do you want to pull a card? Do you want to just,
Sure, maybe we could pull a card.
okay.
Or maybe I'll pull three since, three
That's
card
your, it's
my
three cards.
specialty and it's the 3 day. So
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull while you get ready. I'm going to pull from the Wild Elemental, which is a really interesting Oracle
nice.
type deck. And today I pulled the Badger. It's a Badger.
That's cool.
Hmm. And the Badger is a storyteller. They help you with your aggressiveness. They're very single minded. They have passion, cunning, and they can think in terms of revenge. And we've been pretty happy clappy on moving into a whole new space, but you know that. But I hope they get theirs. It's going to creep in here somewhere. Perseverance, groundedness, a knowledge of the earth, because that's where the badger lives, is under the earth,
Hmm.
and earth magic and wisdom is part of the energy of the badger. And when the badger shows up in your life, you're being told that you have to own your right to walk in, you have your own right to walk in your path at your
Hmm.
own pace. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be and that all you need to do is keep walking that path that's been given to you. Stay grounded in the present moment and be confident that wherever you are, that's where you're supposed to be. Badgers create many burrows and typically roam from burrow to burrow, never staying in one place very long.
Hmm.
Uh, Aggressive nature of the badgers is a message that you are well within your own rights to upset someone if they're passing on your goodwill and your kind heart and your own path in life. And if you've heard us read the poem Breath, that's what she says at the end. She doesn't have to fight it, she just has to sit down and breathe for herself and not get pushed into other people's patterns. So
Right.
we're badgers today. So what do you get, Jeffrey?
I get, I start with the 9 of Wands. Very interesting card. A lot going on here. And then I go to the King of Cups. Lovely.
Mhm.
And the Ace of Swords.
Oh.
Yeah. So the 9 of Wands, I mean, nine is about attainment.
Mm-hmm.
So the 9 of Wands, it's interesting because, he looks like he's sort of surrounded. He sort of is surrounded in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But I always get with the nine. Well, I get a lot of things, but a lot of times I get with the 9 of Wands. It's like he's at this point in battle that he has to sort of stop. And it's almost like um, time stands still. And, it's almost like watching a movie in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, okay, well, this happened then, and this went down, and that happened, and da, da, da. And I'm putting the whole thing together. I'm putting the whole thing together, and I'm making a decision as to whether I should go on fighting or not, whether this thing that I'm after is really kind of worth my time, worth my effort. And depending upon the cards that are around it, sometimes I think I learned my lesson. I don't really have to do anything more.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like, especially with the Badger, it's like, no, I'm standing my ground. I'm sitting in
Mm-hmm.
my space, especially with the Badger thing coming through, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's a 9, so he will attain it. He's having a moment. He's sort of wiping the sweat off his brow,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially with a little, well, the schmata does the job for him. But
Yeah.
he's sort of like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to it. And then, excuse me, I have the King of Cups. The King of Cups to me is my favorite king. He's the kindest. He's the kindest king.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing about the King of Cups, for me, the King of Cups, out of like the thing that I get really first and foremost is he is the great listener,
Mm-hmm.
the great listener. He holds the space. And but a lot of times, because I generally read cards as the individual, I don't really read cards. It's like, oh, the Queen of, oh, you're going to meet a fire sign who's this age. I don't really read
Mm-hmm.
like that. The King of Cups is really about listening to oneself, listening
Mm-hmm.
to one's heart, and realizing that sometimes things are turbulent, but he's like, okay, things are turbulent right now. I have to stop, look around, and
Mm-hmm.
listen on the inside, right? Which is also green. And it's through that, like something new appears,
Mm-hmm.
something completely new. And the way I've been interpreting the Ace of Swords, I don't know, past few months, is that, because swords are metallic when they come up.
Mm-hmm.
So like a metal, like the light flashes off of it and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, poof. Um, so it's almost like the past, it's almost like a magic show.
Yeah.
So, you're watching like an old time magic show and he first pulls the rabbit and then he has the assistant and he puts her in something and then a smoke thing comes up here and all of a sudden she's a tiger. Where is she?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the ace of wands, that the ace of swords. It's sort of like the old stuff dissolved and there's
Mm-hmm.
this new clear thing in front of you. It's like, and I think that's what's really going on. I
Yeah.
think that's where we're heading. That's where we're heading. So kind of be prepared. It's like, well, I thought I had that job. I thought that we
Mm-hmm.
were like I had a friendship with somebody. I thought I did this job and that was my job and that was my identity, but suddenly no more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why if one is centered in oneself, it's like, well, if I take myself with me and I really have myself to take with me,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be all right. It'll be all right. That I feel like the real identity is the identity with the soul. And it's through that we can move forward because that's the only eternal part of us. The rest of it changes.
Yes, it does. It morphs.
I
And
like the badger.
especially now that Saturn is in Pisces, and that's Pisces is a mutable sign. So Saturn normally means I build something really solid, but you
Right.
put it in mutable sign, and all of a sudden I'm building on. I think I have the Saturn thinks it has the structure built, and then reality strikes and it shifts again. And while that may make some people insecure, for other people it helps them because otherwise they felt like they were stuck with what they got
Right.
instead of being able to move on.
Right. Right. And
So,
and Pisces, is very morphy,
mm-hmm.
right? It goes this way, it goes that way. It's water, so it
It's
could be yeah,
I have two children that are Pisces, and they're either swimming up or they're swimming down.
right.
They don't ever seem to find that place in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's always it's like a swirling little whirlpool around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay because I'm not what they're swimming up or down about, but I don't think. Maybe they just never tell me. Who knows? Anyway, welcome to the candle lighting for day 3, and we're about to go to the table and blow the candles out. Oh, by the way, if you're interested in what Jeffrey does, he does healings, he does readings, if you subscribe to his channel, you'll find out about all the wonderful things he does. And his channel is not called Jeffrey. His channel is called Ripe Color, which is a whole nother story he'll undoubtedly tell you about someday.
Someday.
Someday. Anyway, probably has something to do with being a fabric artist turning into a tarot reader. Probably something like that.
Something like that.
Okay. We want to thank everyone who came today
Yes, thank you and blessings.
as we blow out your candles. And I'm reminding people who light candles along with me to remember to blow them out, because if you don't, at the end of 9 candles, you'll have 1 candle. You can light. Anyway, thank you, Jeffrey, for coming.
Thank you.
And goodbye to everyone.
Bye.